Hi, everybody. It's Marsha Casper Cook, and we are just beginning the show. And we have an addition to the show. I'm hoping that she will get on also. Let me put in, let's see, Tom is here. Okay, letting everybody in.
Hello. Can you
Hello, hi.
you can hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay, we're going to let everybody in. That's Ellwyn. Here we have Adele. Hi, Adele. Nice to meet you. She's not connected. Okay. Tom is in. I think Tom will be in. Okay, Tom. Let's see.
Hello.
Oh, hi. How are you? All right, Tom is in. All right,
Hi,
we have
Tom.
Hello.
okay. Hi, everybody. All right, Adele. Let's see. Click Adele in. Adele. Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, hi, everybody. It's Marsha Casper Cook, and we're going to start our show right now. And as you know, we're on not on Block Talk anymore. We are on Podbean, and then we are all over the place because that's the new way to do it, where you have a show, and then there's so many outlets now because everybody's listening to podcasts. So when I started 16 years ago, nobody even knew what it was. So now, whenever you hear people on a show or wherever they're doing a podcast. Here we are. And so let's see. And let me invite Adele in. Hmm. Okay. All right. So, all right, Tom, why don't you go first and you can tell everybody a little bit about yourself
Sure. Well,
because you've been
thanks
on
for.
before, and so is Adele, so has Elwyn, and Adele is a new person coming on, which um, I've never met her before, so I'm hoping she'll be able to get on. But first off, okay, this is a children's author show, and it's going to be great. I don't see very many of those out there, so I just should give one little bit of information. When we started out, Virginia Grenier and myself, we did a lot of children's shows, but over the years, I hardly see podcasts now for children. So, about their books. And so that's why I wanted to start up again. We had one, I think it was a couple, probably over a month ago. And then we said we're going to have another one with the same guests. And we're going to read a little. But so Tom was on that show. So I'll let him talk to you a little bit about what he does.
Well, thanks, Marcia. It's so good to be here again,
I'm happy.
and chatting with what I feel like are old friends at this point.
I do too. I do too. We are.
Yes, yes. Well, in any event, thank you for that tee up and the introduction. It's always so lovely to be on your show.
Oh, thank you.
And I am a children's book author. I have written. I think it's six or seven. I've
Yeah,
lost
it's
count
it's
now,
getting
and
there. Right,
yeah,
right.
it's getting there. And I've done a couple of collaborations. So it's just been a really fun experience. But my books, I should say, the what I bring to the table in terms of my books is. So we are a gay family, and the reason I started writing was because I wanted my children to see families that look like theirs in the books that they were reading. We had plenty of books on our shelves about other cultures and other ethnicities to help broaden their exposure to the world around them. However, we had very few that actually had families that look like ours. So that's why I started writing. And so I always make sure that my books have some representation of an LGBT family in them. Although my books aren't just they aren't about LGBT families. They're
Right.
about all the things that kids experience who happen to have any kind of family, be that LGBT or otherwise. So it's been a great joy and a great experience to do actually with my children as well.
And you know what? That's the thing, because you said it's because it's not an LGBTQ book.
No.
So, right, and that's, because you were on the show when we talked about books being banned.
Hmm.
And so a book is a book. A book doesn't, a lot of books are out there that don't have huge messages. But when you think about it, a small message is just enough about, something for a child.
Sure.
You know, I mean, when I wrote my books, I have 5 of them. I didn't write them as messages. But then as the years went on and people read them, they said, "Oh, this is a message." So I think if you're writing a children's book, I don't think we've ever talked about that. So I'm just bringing this up because you're writing a story. It's just a story about something that happened.
Mhm.
So as the story progresses, maybe you'll have a message, maybe you won't, but you don't want to throw it at the kids because I think that's something that's, then it becomes different, where people say, "Oh, they're
Certainly.
messaging." But if it's just a fun, interesting topic, and so Elwyn, I think you have, why don't you come in and join us here? Elwyn,
Okay.
hi. All right, tell
Hello.
everybody who you are. Tell everybody who you are.
Well, hello everyone. Hi, Marsha. Thanks for having me
Hi,
on again. Hi, Tom.
love
Um,
it.
Hello.
Ellwyn Autumn. I am a children's author. I've been actually this is the 10th year as a self-published author, so that's kind of
Really? Oh,
exciting for me.
wow.
Yeah. Um, I, as I say, I'm a retired pre-K Head Start teacher, so I use my teacher hat to kind of drive my stories, but like I don't usually set out with a message. It's usually just I'm struck with an idea and I go with it. But I just wanted to piggyback off of something that Tom said about how he writes books and it's not just about LGBTQ. That's what we need. We just need to have little representations here and there to normalize it.
Right,
So
right.
it's not like this, oh my God, here it is. No, it's just, oh, okay, yeah, here it is. It's just part of life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that's true. I think that's true of a lot of things. And, um, which we talked about last time about, books probably shouldn't be banned that are being banned, because they're just, most of us have read some of these books. And any message in the past that anybody gave or any, with the rainbow, it's just a rainbow. And I think so. I think people, that's what's happened now. So I'm hoping in the libraries, they just continue on, just having kids enjoy books. That's what this is all about. We're writing them for them to enjoy books and learn something. And, maybe in a few years they remember things. I'm sure you all feel this too. Sometimes I'll remember something and I'll go, "I can't believe I remembered that." But
Mm.
people do remember things, kids too,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know. And so I think that that's one of the things, and I think maybe Tom, do you want to read do you want to read your whole book or whatever you
Well,
want,
I can.
or you could read a little of it. It's up to you. We're fine with it. You
Yeah,
know.
well, let's see. I have so the book I have sitting on my desk right here with me. Actually, is a little bit of a departure from my some of my other books. It's called Jasmine's Big Emotions, and this book was inspired by our time as a family, as a foster family. And we had children coming through our home, and those children, as well as anybody in the world, had big emotions.
Right.
And so I wanted to write a book. I started off writing this book because I wanted to give representation to the foster experience. And sorry, I'm doing a little tee up here, but I just want to kind
No,
of
it's
give the
okay.
back,
No, no, no. Don't go.
give
That's all
the
right.
yeah, okay. I give the background,
That's fine.
but I wanted to give representation to the foster child experience because when we look at the range of different cultural experiences or diverse experiences in children's books, um, foster care is so many of different populations are underrepresented, but foster care is grossly underrepresented. So I wanted to give those kids an opportunity to see themselves. And Marsha, I'll tell you, I struggled a little bit with this book because every kid's foster experience is so different and
Yeah.
unique,
Yeah.
and it was hard to craft a book
Yeah.
that really like wouldn't isolate other kids. And so I had some foster families that I had used as an advisory group in writing this book. And one of them knew me professionally as a social worker. And she said, you should just write what you know.
Right. Yeah.
And it just, remember the I could have had a V8
Yeah.
commercials? Like I hit myself on the head. So I could have had a V8. And what I know is, as a clinical social worker who has spent a career doing therapy with children and families, is how to help them identify and manage their emotions. And so
Yeah.
this book is about feelings and the development of coping skills, but it features a foster child as the protagonist of the story. So anyway, so that's my tee up for the book. So I'm happy to read a part of it, if you don't mind. I won't read the
No,
whole thing,
absolutely.
but
Read.
yeah, maybe I'll read a couple passages. And now, again, this is a children's illustrated book, so that means that the pictures help to tell the story as well. So for the audience, you don't get the benefit of the pictures, but hey, look up the book. Jasmine's Big
Yeah,
Emotions.
exactly, exactly, exact. Uh, before you say this,
Yeah.
was looking up books and everything, and it's so interesting why children's books don't get reviewed as much as the other books. I know how much you post out there, and you're out there. You've been in you've qualified in contests and everything. So I'm wondering why you think that. I mean, that's one of the things that's people have, for Christmas, for Hanukkah, for all the holidays, for baby showers, for the birth of a baby. That's a good gift.
Hmm. Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
where people notice things, where your book can get more popular. And so I think it's some of the older books have remained popular because people just stick with those.
Yeah, and they're also represented by the big publishing, houses,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like big name authors sell a lot of books, and therefore that makes a lot of money for organizations. And like Ellwyn, I'm also self-published, and so we rely on word of mouth, grassroots, and we have to do all of our own campaigning.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and you
it,
do
it,
a really good job. I mean, you're out there a lot. I see you
oh,
everywhere,
thank you,
really.
thank
That's a
you.
good thing.
Well, and I will say, and then we can do a passage, but I will say, I am very proud to say that this book is the first runner up. So it wasn't the grand prize winner, but it was the first runner up in the 2025 Eric Hoffer Book
And
Award.
that's a big deal.
Oh,
That is a
It
big
is a
deal.
big deal.
congratulations.
Yes, that's
Yeah, thank
wonderful. Yeah.
you, thank
See,
you. Yeah,
that's
so first runner
wonderful.
up. Yep, yep.
That's
So here,
fabulous.
how
So
about I'll
happy.
read. I'll read. I'll skip around in the book, but I'll do a few passages and
Yeah,
then.
you can do whatever you want, whatever you want.
Okay.
That's fine. Go
So
ahead.
yeah, so it starts where the character is introducing herself. Now I should say, because folks are listening, this is an African American young girl, probably around the age of 8 or so, and she introduces herself. And she says, "Hi, my name is Jasmine, but my friends call me Jazzy." And then she proceeds to share that she lives with a foster family. So she says, "I live here with my foster family. Foster families are adults that promise to care for you and keep you safe when you're not able to live with your own parents. It's called foster care. Kids in foster care haven't done anything wrong. They just have different family situations. And the amount of time a kid spends in foster care can be short or it can be long. And some kids in foster care get adopted." And now we go on to talk about her feelings. And so she shares that she has big feelings just like other kids. And those feelings can turn into big emotions. And she says, emotions that get too big can be hard to control. When that happens to me, I feel like a balloon that has been blown up too much, and I just want to pop. And there's a picture, a 2-page picture of her with her cheeks kind of puffed out, and she's blown up a balloon, and the balloon has exploded on the page. And so she talks a little bit about her emotions. She talks about how they have gotten her in trouble a little bit at school. But then the book goes on, and she goes on to share with the reader that she is discovering positive ways to manage her emotions. And I'm going to read one of the elements that's talked about in the book, because this one's pretty special for me. And, I opened by saying writing has been a fun activity to do with my children. And this particular coping strategy that's in the book actually came from my 8-year-old daughter. And she was 7 at the time, but she learned this coping strategy in school. And so this is homage to her. So I'll share that. So Jasmine says, one thing that helps me is taking deep breaths. First, I take a long breath in through my nose, like I'm smelling a flower. And there's, of course, a picture of her smelling a flower. I hold it for a second, and then I breathe out through my mouth like I'm blowing out a candle. I do this 3 times, and with each breath, I imagine I'm releasing more of my emotions. And then she invites the reader for this. Can you try it with me? Now, Ellwyn, Marsha, can you try it with me?
Yes, I can.
Breathe in like you're smelling a flower. Hold it. Now, breathe out like you're blowing out a candle. Great job. Doesn't that feel better?
Yeah.
Yes. And so she goes on to talk a little bit, and that's a fun exercise when we do readings in schools, and we do, at libraries, whatever. This is a fun one. We pause and we make a big deal of it and have all the kids that are participating in the event do this breathing exercise. And my daughter, if she comes with me, she likes to then teach them. There's a new one that she's learned for breathing that she verbally will actually share with the group, and it's called pizza breathing. And you bring your hands to your nose like you're smelling a pizza. Oh, doesn't that smell good? Smell that pizza. And then, but then she's like, oh, it's too hot. Blow it, cool it down. And then we do pizza breathing too. And then I'll read you the very last page. The story ends actually at the back of the book. We have a feelings chart with Jasmine making different faces and the names of those feelings. And then there is also a page that identifies additional coping skills that a child can read, a parent or an adult can review and practice with them. But the last narrative page, and again, kind of hearkening back to if this book is applicable to anybody, not just for kids that are in foster care, but a special message for kids that have had maybe a tough family situation, whether they're in foster care or not. And the last page goes like this. So managing emotions isn't always easy, but I believe in you. You are a good person. You are strong. And you are loved no matter what. And that's how our story ends.
Aw.
That's sweet. Honestly, that breathing in, I've been doing Tai Chi lately. And that's actually, it's really good for people to learn that because,
Yes.
no matter what your age, you sometimes taking that deep breath in and out changes
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
love that you put that in there. You're like,
Yeah, it's so
yeah,
simple, right? It's so
yeah.
simple, but so powerful and effective. And,
I used
interesting.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Ellwyn. Go.
I used to
Oh,
do that particular technique with my kiddos, the
yeah.
flower and the candle. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would
It's a
try.
good, it's a good, because just normal breathing doesn't have the same therapeutic effect as
Yeah,
the deep breathing. And so it teaches them how to breathe differently to achieve kind of greater relaxation and help to kind of control the physiology of their body, especially during a heightened emotional state.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah,
I would
yeah.
spend like 15 minutes maybe in the afternoon just trying to give them skills, you know. So this
Mm-hmm.
way when they had a situation we could just, they could hopefully use them without, with
Yeah.
like, with like a reflex.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
And you said, Ellen, you were kindergarten, right?
Well, I taught kindergarten, but most of my career I taught pre-K Head Start.
Okay. Well, yeah. So what I was going to say, like in reference to that age group, my target audience generally is five to eight, 5 to 9, that kind of like early school
Yeah.
period. But my other daughter, my youngest daughter, who just turned 4 this month, she's already picked up on this technique, and she doesn't do it, but I'll say to her when she's frustrated and she throws something across the room, I'll say, now, what were you supposed to do? Take a deep breath. I'm like, right, let's try it now. You didn't do it in the moment, but let's try it
Yeah,
now.
let's do simple mode.
So it is effective.
Yeah.
I guess my point is, even the little ones can pick up on this technique
Yeah.
because it's something they can do.
But I worked for a pediatrician for 25 years in the lab, and kids, you never know what they're going to do. I mean, you just don't. And I think that people sometimes kids know a lot more than people give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of feelings that they don't always show. And sometimes, as you know, they say something and they meant something else because they just can't express sometimes how they
Mm-hmm.
feel.
Sure, they don't have the
But I think
vocabulary.
that's what it is, going to a library and looking around. See, that's one of the things that's really still good for kids to go to the library. There's nothing like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, the
You know,
libraries also. I spent so much time in the library as a kid. And speaking of remembering things, right? Just in this moment right now, talking about the library is bringing me right
yeah,
back to
yeah.
sitting in the library and on those wooden chairs that were
Yep.
upholstered, like
You know,
dorm room chairs.
during COVID, Ellwyn was on the show quite a bit when we did some shows on that. And it was very hard for kids, and I
Yeah,
still think there's a trace of this left in people because we're home for so long,
yeah,
and
sure.
I talked about this a while ago that it's hard. I can't even imagine being home for that long and not going out, or not like the kids not going to the library, not going with their friends. And I wanted to at the beginning write a book on about COVID, and they went, "Oh, I don't know." And then nope, not as many people have written books on these things because we all like to forget it because it was so horrifying. But you're never going to know until maybe we will know later on how kids really felt about this.
Yeah,
Yeah. When they
You
get older.
yeah,
know, I mean, because as a child, keeping them in is not easy. They want to go outside, they want to be with their friends. So I think those are the things that probably parents will have to be dealing with at some time because it'll come out somewhere,
hmm
because I think a lot of kids miss so much.
yeah. Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And
It's so
especially
worth it.
kids that
Yeah.
needed more, they needed more help. They couldn't,
Yeah,
and parents, they could love their children, but they're not teachers.
yeah. Yeah, I was doing online therapy with kids during COVID,
You did?
and
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But it wasn't. I mean, my preferred. I did a lot of work in home
Yeah.
before COVID. So I would actually go to someone. I wouldn't have someone come to an office. I would go to someone's home.
Yeah.
They could, show me their living space, and it was so much more
Yeah.
powerful and
Yeah.
effective
Yeah.
because when you can understand an environment that someone lives, then you can help them to find strategies that work for them in their environment.
Yeah.
Um, so when COVID hit, I did a lot of online therapy, and it was horrible, Marsha. it was
I know.
it was horrible.
No,
I was glad I was
it
there and
is
glad to
horrible.
provide the service, but I can't tell you the number of times where a kid was using mom or dad's phone for the therapy
Yeah.
session, and I ended up like looking at the ceiling because they put the phone down, and I was like, "Are you still there?"
I think, I mean, these are all the things that we have, as adults, it was difficult. So, I mean, as kids, you just never know honestly, even, you don't really know what kids are thinking. They could look you right in the eye and say something, as you know, and they don't mean it.
Hmm. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It's true. Naturally, I
Well,
saw
and
them
I
when
think I was going to
I
say, I
saw
think
the,
Marsha
I saw them
too.
when they were hiding under desks. They didn't want any shots. That's what happened.
Yes.
What
Well,
can
and
I
I
say?
think too that not only do they not have the vocabulary or the awareness and insight, depending on their developmental age, but we as adults often dismiss kids that are experiencing emotions. Like, oh, you don't need to cry about that. That's come on, that's silly. You don't need to cry
Yes,
about
you
that.
do need to cry about
But
that. Yeah.
yes, and my husband actually reminded me of this. He was like, and this is when our youngest was maybe like 2, and she was a crier. She was a crier. And he said, we may not think that's a big deal, but she doesn't have any other big deals in her life.
I
So
know. Well,
for
thank
this,
goodness. Thank goodness.
but it is tragic for her, and it
Yeah.
is disruptive, and it is scary because she doesn't have the counterbalance of like, oh, bad is actually this. So in that
Yeah.
moment, that is the worst thing that can be happening to her right now. And yes, she is crying about it and she may not be able to express it, but we need to understand that's coming from a very deep place, and her perspective
Yeah, that's
isn't
true.
as developed as ours. And I think we do this as adults. We just sometimes are dismissive of kids' feelings.
I know. Well, the good news, I think we got Adele in. Adele, are you here?
Hi, can
Oh,
you hear me?
yes.
Ah, I'm
Hey!
in. Yay!
Hi, Adele.
Oh, this is good.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
sorry. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, no, no. That's nice to meet you. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then you could join in with us?
Yes, sure. Well, my name is Adele Lamothe, and I have 2 books that I self-published. I'm still pretty new at it. I've only been at it for about a year and a half. Um, but I'll tell you just a bit of background on the books. They are inspired by nature. The first one is called Two Little Raindrops,
Oh,
and
cute.
it's adventure of 2 raindrops called Splish and Splash, and they get lost one day after it rains, and then they have to find their way home, which they do through the water cycle. So it educates
Mm.
kids about how the water cycle works in a
Oh,
way that they can visualize it happening in nature. And then the second one is called The Little Seed. And it is about a tiny little seed who's sleeping in the winter. Then spring comes and she comes alive.
uh-huh.
And she has a dream. She really wants to fly. So as she's growing and she goes through the different stages of a plant life cycle, she still believes that she can achieve a dream. And then,
Good. Yeah.
yeah, and then she grows up and a little surprise happens and perhaps she gets a dream. Yeah. So those are the two books that I have self-published.
Well, there are so many different things. You talked about weather. Okay, I wasn't going to read anything, but I think maybe I will if I could find something here. I had something. Do you want to read anything, Elwyn, or You said you had a poem you might want to read.
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment about Adele's books. They're awesome. Splish and
Oh,
Splash.
sweet.
I, I mean, and I love the little seed too, but I really love Splish and Splash.
Oh, thank you, Ellwyn.
You're welcome.
Well,
It means so much.
Elwyn is a good reviewer. She's so nice about
Oh,
reviewing
yes,
books, and
absolutely.
it's very nice.
I
She's
try.
really great to the
I'm
independent authors,
I'm a little
especially.
I'm a little
Absolutely.
backed up right now, so people are probably like, "Well, when is she going to get them out?" But I'm doing my best. Um,
Is that really? Yeah, you are backed up. That's what good then. No. Yes.
yeah,
No.
well, um, yeah, yeah. It's just I feel bad, because sometimes it just takes me forever to get them done. Well, I wrote a poem last week because I'm going to be speaking at the Fall Book Fest. So, and it's a Halloween theme.
Ah.
Mm.
So, and where the focus is, I pitched them with diversity in kids' books. So I was like,
Ah.
well,
Good.
how can we talk about Halloween and diversity? And I thought, well, what if everybody wore the same costume?
Ah,
Mm.
wow.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to read the poem. I've gotten the
Okay,
directions,
that's okay.
but
You know, we're
but
gonna have we'll have another children's show. You might feel like it. You know,
oh no, I can read it.
you got
So
it. Okay.
yeah, it says, "What if we all wore the same costume? How boring would that be? The same old spooky fashion, as far as the eye can see. What if we all dressed as a ghost, a vampire, a monster, or bat? Could we really be considered special? A unique, super cool cat? How would our parents find us in a sea where we're all the same? How would we get our candy if we all had the same costume name? The colors would blend together, morph into a monotony of clones. We'd all be so confused, a mass of disorderly drones. Halloween would lose the excitement, the creative flair that makes it fun. We would all look exactly alike and be lost one by one. Halloween costumes express freedom to be exactly who we are, a person who thinks and feels, a bright and shining star. People are much the same. They have differences too. We need a blend of both in a world for me and you.
I
The
like
end.
that.
That's great.
That's
So
Yes.
nice.
beautiful.
That's
So
beautiful.
nice.
Thank you.
Ellwyn,
So
what
nice.
festival will you be speaking at and possibly sharing that poem?
It's called Book Fest. So it's the fall. It's their fall book fest. They, I have all the
Wonderful.
I have all the directions and everything. Someone's supposed to be reaching out to me.
Is that
Some
online or?
Yeah, yeah, it's online. Yeah. Yeah, I just I'm part of their email list, so they asked if anybody had ideas for the next fest and
Oh,
with with the catalog of diverse kids books. I'm like, "Oh, diversity." And they were like,
yeah.
"Yes, please." And I was
Yeah.
like, "All right."
That's awesome.
It's great
Well,
that
I
they're
hope they
doing
let you
that.
read it. I hope they
Yeah.
let you read it because
Yeah.
it's a good one, Ellwyn.
I think that's
Thank
a,
you.
you know, it's an interesting topic, you know, to think about is if everybody looked the same or was the same. You know, I mean, look at how great it is. I live in Chicago, so it's so great here because it's just we have every different kind of nationality. It's always been that way here. It's so great, you know, and I think wouldn't it be nice if people could all get together? I mean, it's heartbreaking actually because it would be so nice. We're basically the same in so many ways.
Yeah, aren't we like 98% identical or something? Like the human race in general?
Yeah, I mean,
Heard
it
that somewhere.
just, yeah, you know, like I've been lucky enough to do shows for 16 years and meet people that I never would have met. So for me, I think this is one of the best experiences of my life because, like, where would I have met? I'm meeting people all the time, and and some of the people that have been a lot of the people I'm good friends with. Oh, you know, for years already. After 16 years of shows, I still talk to the same people. So and I've met them online, and it worked out great, you know. And they come on my show and we talk about things, and I'm thinking, this is probably a highlight for me, is that how many people I've got to meet, you know, in all of these
Yeah.
years. And Adele, did you want to read anything?
Yes, I
You
can
don't have to.
read.
Oh, and
Oh no, it's fine.
I should also say that you've not been on the show, but you could ask a question of somebody else if you want. You don't have to wait for me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
That's how it is on here. Everybody can talk, however, you know, they don't have to wait for me. You could just ask somebody if you have a question.
oh, thank you. I love how
You're
we're
welcome.
having a conversation.
Yes,
And yeah, I'm really excited to be here and
I'm happy you
to
are.
meet everyone else. Thank you. You know what? I can read the first part of my
Okay,
of Two Little Raindrops.
okay.
Okay.
Mm.
And once again, like I think Tom mentioned before, it's a picture book, so the illustrations do complement the words and tell part of the story. But maybe if you can close your eyes and just imagine these two little quirky raindrops, and they're in the cloud at the moment.
If I
Okay.
fall asleep, Elwyn, take over.
Oh, it is a bedtime story, so if
You're
you
saying
fall
Well,
to
asleep, I've
relax.
done my job.
If I'm
uh,
relaxing.
Adele, you have a great bedtime story voice, though. Like
Oh God, I
I'm
know.
like settling into my chair. I want a
You're
I know.
blanket
I
right
love
now.
it.
you're in a
I
puffy
know.
cloud.
I
You're in
love
a
it.
puffy cloud, and you've done your breathing exercises. Thank you, Tom, for those. And you're relaxing. Okay, here goes. Two little friends, tiny droplets so light, lived in a cloud which was puffy and white. One was called Splish. He had eyes like a fish. And one was called Splash, with a fancy moustache. One day in spring, the friends were at play. The sky became dark, and the clouds were all grey. The friends felt so heavy and weak at the knees, they battled to float, so they had to break free. They squeezed through the crowd, and with a big sigh, they jumped off the landing to soar through the sky. They raced through the air, heading straight for the ground, and landed on trees with a splishy splash sound. They felt a lot better, as light as can be, but then they remembered they missed family. They started to worry as they looked around. How will we get home? They thought with a frown. They slid down a leaf, landing high on a hill. We'll find a way home, together we will. With a swish and a swoosh, they slipped down the peak. Look for some water, a stream we must seek. They dashed over grass, and they whizzed past a rock, swerving around with a kick and a knock. Faster and faster they moved with a thrill, until they saw water, a stream on the hill. Downhill they went, finding their way, meeting the stream with a splash and a spray. The stream was alive, heading straight for the lake. It flowed over stones with a rumble and shake. "Wee!" said the friends as they started to giggle. They swerved and they swam, then they jumped with a jiggle. The lake was right there, and the droplets went plop, hitting the surface. They came to a stop. Gone was the darkness and grey overhead. The sky became bright, and the sun shone instead. The droplets relaxed as they drifted around. The breeze was so warm, there was barely a sound. The air became hot with a change in the weather. The friends started feeling as light as a feather. They started to rise as they turned into vapor and floated up higher than the biggest skyscraper. They flew past a valley with fields in a row and soared over daisies as white as the snow. It felt a lot colder up there in the sky. They changed into water while floating up high. So many new droplets were joining the pair. They all formed a cloud. Their whole family was there. "We made it," they yawned as they lay down their heads. Tonight they'll sleep well in their soft, cozy beds. Sleep tight, little ones.
Oh, oh, so
Yay!
beautiful. Oh
It
my
is
God.
beautiful.
So relaxing. Gee, you don't even need pictures for that. Oh my God. You
Yeah.
described it so well. So do you go to schools? Have you been doing that?
Yes, I have. I've gone to,
Oh, the
I'd
kids
say, at
must love it.
least 10 or so schools in my
Oh,
area.
Well, that's
And yeah, I read the story. I talk a little bit about the water cycle, and I also just explain the importance of conserving water. So that is a very
good
important topic
message.
to me.
Yes, it is.
Saving
Yes, it
water,
is.
so very
Mhm.
but
important. And at the back of the book, after the story, there's a diagram that simplifies the water cycle, and there's also
Wow.
some tips to save water that kids can start to think about doing at in their homes. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
um,
That's very good.
something
Yeah.
else Adele does that ties into the breathing and that Tom was talking about, and
Yeah.
like mindfulness is she'll have pictures of her being outside and just being grateful about nature, which is
Yeah.
something else that binds us all together. It's
Yes.
universal and
Yeah.
is healthy. Could be healthy for children. To get
Yeah.
outside and just be
Absolutely.
around the trees and
Hmm.
What is it? Tree
Yes,
bathing and stuff
it
like
Yeah.
it
that.
ma you know, it really is, it does matter, I mean, I think, all the kids are now they go into trampoline places, they do a lot of other things, but really, when you're young, as you get older too, but it's nice for young people to learn this, kids at an early age, you know,
Yeah.
and you gave them a message, but not real that it's nothing intense that they wouldn't understand.
Yes, I think a lot of teachers have been buying my
Oh,
books
yeah.
because they
It
like the way it's a fun sort of way to learn. And I think
Yeah,
when children are having fun, they're actually learning and retaining the
exactly.
information.
Hmm.
So my intention is always to connect kids with nature, as you mentioned, the benefits of being outdoors
Yeah,
and I mean, it improves your focus, it lowers your heart rate, it reduces anxiety.
yeah,
And I think when kids learn to understand a little bit about how nature works, they start to respect it and they start to look after it. They
yeah,
grow up with that thinking that, nature it's a part of us.
right.
And it's really important that we keep it's our job. We are nature's protectors. We need to look
Hmm.
after it.
Yeah.
Adele,
I
you'll
yeah, go
I
ahead.
was going to say, Adele, you'll appreciate this then. So we have taught our girls about their Earth family. Um,
Oh.
and
Ah.
so when they see like somebody littering or,
Oh,
something else
uh-huh.
can that can impact or
Yeah.
negatively affect our environment,
Mhm.
they inquire. They're like, why is that person hurting our Earth family?
Mhm. Oh,
Wow. That's
Aw.
I love
good.
that.
Oh, whoa. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
that's
think
amazing.
I think if you learn these things when you're young, that's what like I was saying,
Mhm.
it sticks in your head. It really does, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that those are just small messages that mean a lot.
Mhm.
So I think and I'll tell you, your voice is incredible, Adele. Oh my God.
Well, thank you.
Because when I noticed that Tom, you didn't put your books on ACX for audio?
Oh no,
No, I
no, I don't.
haven't.
I
Heard
think, but you don't
I've been
either? Okay.
wanting to.
Both of you if you're on Amazon, your book, ACX is free. If you give,
Oh,
if you, yeah, to get all my audiobooks are done there. You put your book in and
Mhm.
then a narrator, you can go 50-50. And Amazon owns ACX, so you don't have to have any contact monetarily. Amazon takes care of it
oh,
Mhm.
with
interesting.
ACX. And yeah, and there's a lot of people with English accents. You can pick out whatever you want and an
Oh,
accent, and then, and then someone will audition for you. And then if it works out, there's a lot of people want to do children's books because it's a lot less time. It's hard. Adele, you might want to do your own, you know,
Yeah. Okay. Thank
but
you.
go on
I'll look into
ACX.
it.
Yeah. Elwood, you have ACX, right? You have your,
No, I don't have my books in audio.
okay. So it doesn't cost anything. And then there's another site that I belong on. It's called Free Audiobook Codes. And you pay $50 to put, I think, 6 books on. And they take the codes because Amazon gives them free codes. But the author gets paid.
Oh, wow.
huh,
And actually, a lot more than you do for a book.
huh,
Mhm.
how
It's
about
like a
that?
lot more. I mean, a lot.
I
You
guess your
know,
voice is another commodity.
yeah,
I don't know.
no, but I'll tell you,
Maybe.
I love audiobooks. And I think, I talk about this on my show all the time, but, you know, even for kids, you know, when people read a book to kids, sometimes kids learn or listen better if they're hearing it. It depends on
Hmm.
how they,
Mm,
I learn more when I'm listening, the weather than I'm reading. So you ought to look into that because it's really a good program.
okay.
You
Thank
Well,
you.
know,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't like signing contracts, but it's like a 7-year contract. But mine are over that already. But I figured if Amazon goes under, we're all in trouble because that's where everybody gets their books. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. And honestly, it's such a and the kids' books are read too. I mean, people are reading them. And but my regular book sales are less than the Amazon than the the audio. So the audio books, look into it. It's called acx.com.
And what was the
Thank
other
you.
one? What was
ACX is acx.com. Oh, freeaudiobookcodes.com.
codes? Okay.
Yes, because but it's only if you have audiobooks. Because
Oh,
and when you get audiobooks done, then they give you 50 free codes from Amazon. And then if you go on the other program, which if you ever do it, I'll be happy to explain it to you. You can always call me. And then you get paid.
how
People
about it?
go in with the codes and and then you get paid. And
I
so
like
does
the
the
sound of
narrator.
that. I like
No,
the
it's
sound of
really
that.
good. It's a really good program. You know, I right now am listening. I listen a lot to, well, I write romance, whatever, but I'm listening now to Danielle Steele, who is an old time author.
Mm-hmm.
But and now I'm reading, listening to it on audio, and I'm saying, now I know all her books are a lot of them in the past were movies, and I can see
Yeah.
why. When I listen to it, it's really a good experience. I love it.
Well, thank
So
you for
think about
sharing that
it.
with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah. Oh,
Marsha.
yeah. I didn't know you
Thank
didn't
you.
know, but when I was looking up, your books today, Tom, I didn't see that, you know.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good program, and Audible, um, other people have gone on other programs, but Audible, you see it all the time on TV. They're always advertising Audible.
Okay. All right.
It works out. Because you're not, Amazon just takes care of all the payments and everything. So and I become friendly with a couple of the people that have done the audiobook. So there's hundreds and hundreds of people that are out there narrating. But
Okay.
do the one for 50/50 because then you don't pay anything.
Okay.
No, it's
Thank you.
really good though. It's good. They get paid also. They get paid.
This
So
show
all the
sponsored by acx.com.
no, but if you listen to all my shows, you'll see that I talk about it a lot 'cause I love it. It's very relaxing to listen to a book on
Hmm.
an audio. So you'll
You know
see.
what? I beg your pardon. I just
Go
wanted
ahead.
to jump in there. When I first was thinking of publishing children's books, ebooks and audiobooks didn't even occur to me because the reason I started
Right.
I
Yeah,
wanted
I
to
know.
always publish picture books is sitting with my children when they were
Yeah.
young and that
Hmm.
bonding experience that you get
It's
when you're holding the book
Yep.
and you're cuddling up together. But how often are you around and you see kids with tablets? And I think if they have the audiobooks or ebooks saved on the
Yeah.
tablets, it gives them a real educational
Yep.
thing, something to keep them occupied with that's got so many benefits to the children.
Yeah.
And this is the way the world is now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well,
Because I think so. Everything has changed.
mm,
But I years ago on our shows, we used to do people reading, the full book. But a lot of times when people do an audiobook, kids listen to the audiobook and then they look at the book
mhm, mhm.
while they're listening to the audiobook.
Yeah,
And they're learning to
They have
like a
read.
capability.
listening center.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
really good.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Well,
learning to
and I know,
recognize the words and I mean, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
and cadence, right? How to speak,
Yeah.
when to
mhm.
pause.
Yeah.
Since we're not since we're plugging, but I will
Yeah,
share.
I wish I owned Audible. It would be nice.
But
It wouldn't be
in this
bad.
whole kind of spirit of listening, so we stumbled on a podcast, and not that I want competition. You should be listening to Marsha's
Oh,
podcast,
that's
but if
fine.
if
I
you're
get
looking
this
for
one.
another podcast,
What is it? What is it? Yeah.
it's called. Wait, I want to say it. Let me
Oh,
pull it up
I'm
on
gonna
my
write it down.
phone. But we discovered it during COVID,
Yeah.
and it is fantastic because my kids like to read. They like to hold a book. They like
Uh-huh.
to have books read to them. But they also do love to listen to stories.
That's
And
great.
we'll often stream a story in the car for long trips. Or we'll stream this podcast and this podcast. Like I'm building it up. But
Okay.
this podcast is out of the UK.
Oh, okay, good.
And it is the woman, the host, invites different storytellers from around the world to not read books, but to actually tell like folk stories
Oh, that's
of
great.
their different countries, right?
Yeah,
So
that's really
you're
good.
learning a little bit about culture too. And anyway,
Oh,
it's
it's
called
great.
Super Great Kids Stories. Super Great
Super
Kids
great.
Stories. And
Oh,
I was thinking, Adele, you've got a perfect voice. You should reach out to her
yeah,
and offer to be a storyteller. I think
yeah,
she would love to have you. But
yeah.
in
Oh,
any
that
event,
sounds good.
it's a
Thank you for
great
that.
podcast. You're welcome. And it's
So
been
it's
around
called
for
supergreatkidstories.com
it's a podcast. So Super Great Kids
Oh,
Stories
right. Okay.
podcast. Yep.
Podcast.
And
Okay.
she's been around for years. They've told hundreds of stories at
Oh,
this point,
okay.
and it's perfect because each episode is maybe like 20 minutes long. So if we're doing a short trip in the car, my kids will say, "Can we hear a story?" And I go right to that podcast because I know there's always going to be a fresh story
Yeah.
that is going to teach them something.
Yep.
It's going to give us conversation to talk about different cultures afterwards, right?
Love
It's
that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think, it's a really, I think kids, that's the one thing that I like to talk about all the time is the fact that if a book is 3 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, I think it doesn't matter. So I think one of the things that the libraries do is they want the new book out there first. And kids are missing books because it's not fresh from this year a lot of times. And I don't know why they do that. They do, there's nothing wrong with reading a book or listening to a book that's like 10 years old. What's
Only
the
so much room
difference?
on the shelves, Marsha. Only so much
Yes.
room.
Well, on the shelves, but no, do you know what I'm talking about? Because
Yeah.
they're missing a lot. Because, if you go into like bookstores, they have all the top 20 books or whatever. And what about the other people
Yep.
that have beautiful books? That's
Mm.
the thing. Do you know how much it used to cost a lot of money for people to focus their books on like Barnes and Noble or, then they didn't have bookstores for a while, but people paid publishing companies paid to have their books there because it was so much, that's how they sold the books. It's right in front. You walk in
Yep.
and there's the book. So it's hard. And there's so many independent authors now that are so good. I don't say self-publishing because it's like independent authors because they're just do their own thing. And the books look the same as a book that's published from a publisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Ellwyn, I
know,
feel like this is a good time for a plug. What do you think?
Um, I. You mean about independent publishing?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
but Ellwyn and I happen to be aware of this incredible resource, Marsha.
Oh, sorry. I was just listening to you guys and I got lost. You mean the catalog of diverse children's books?
What was that again? The
Yeah,
catalog of diverse kids
diverse
books?
children's books. Yeah.
Ellwyn and I are both authors that are featured in a reference catalog that has more than 150 kids' book stories that are introduced to parents, teachers, whomever, and all the stories are categorized by subject. So there's, here's a set of books or stories based on disabilities. Here's some that are based on ethnicity and culture, etc. And so it's a really great resource
what about
that
self-confidence? Some of my books are like that. What
there's
is that?
some in
I'm
there.
taking notes today. All right, go ahead. What?
Anyway, and so the book happens to be available, or the catalog happens to
Okay.
be, it's releasing on Amazon for retail sale in
Oh.
September, but
Oh, that's
happens
what,
to
right. That's what you had before on my show. We talked about that.
happens to be available now
Yeah.
for free.
Wow.
Should anybody want a catalog of their own and get exposure to indie authors who have published books with
Okay.
diverse topics?
And Tom's being
Amazing. Where can we find it?
Ah, thank you,
Yes,
Adele.
because
She
I'm
took
on
the
my computer. I'm ready to look
she
for it right now.
took
because
the bait.
I wanted to come in and donate, and then it was over. The donation part was it
Uh,
stopped. I know. I was too late. I know. It's the story of my
Ellen,
life. No.
Ellen, what were you gonna say? I think we
Go
cut you
ahead,
oh,
off.
Ella.
I mean, Tom's being modest. He
Okay.
put all this together. He did all the legwork.
Yes,
So
we just
it's
had a
really,
show about it a few
yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah.
Yeah. So, um,
Talk about it,
thank
Ella.
you, Ellen. But yeah,
Okay.
anybody that wants a catalog for free certainly can go to my website.
Okay. You want to give
And
your
I'm
website?
yeah. So I'm www.tomtracybooks. Tracy's Tracy. TomTracyBooks.com. There will be a tab that is specific to the catalog of diverse
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
And then you can find all the information you need and request a free copy.
Mhm.
If you do, let us know that
Mhm.
you learned about this from Marsha's podcast.
I know. I'm very bad about promoting myself. I have 5 children's books. I'm a romance writer, but you know, uh, I I should talk about myself a little, but sometimes I don't because I'm not. I'm interested in my guests, but I think that that's why if people want to be on the show, I mean, I like it when I have like today 3 or 4 people. I think it's fun because I think everybody learns from everybody. I always take notes at my show
Yeah, I have
because
a page right here.
yeah, because somebody always tells me something I don't know. Because just because I've done this for 16 years and writing for 20 doesn't mean I know everything. I love this because I find out a lot of things on my
So,
own
Marsha,
show.
you started writing when you were 5, then, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Actually, I had a whole other life. A lot of authors, I will say, that have had full lives doing other things. And then later in life, I've had a lot of them, and they're romance writers, they're children's authors. I mean, this is what happens, and it's such an open market. I was a literary agent for years, and the people I had such great people I took all new people. I had such great authors that just couldn't get published no matter what. And so now I think people don't understand how hard it is to get published with a mainstream publisher. So for people that are listening now you can do your book independently and you get your story out there.
Mhm.
So it's so wonderful because a lot of the people I were my clients, they quit. The screenwriters, they don't do it hardly ever, and they just didn't. This takes a lot of work to keep going, but you have to love it.
Yeah. And
You know,
one thing I'll say, I mean, I love the freedom of self-publishing.
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yep,
Mhm.
me
yep.
too. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. I've had smaller publishers, but then if I want to change a cover, if I want to do something, and I think, there's so many children. That's why I'm saying years ago, I had a ton of children's writers on the shows, but then a lot of them just disappeared. They don't want to do it anymore. And, Rich Linville, I want to give him a shout out. I hope he's feeling better. He was going to come on, but he's written like over 100 books. He was going to be on today. And he was teaching in schools. And if you look up a subject, he's got a book for it. He just
Wow.
does every subject, little books on everything. So I think there's never enough children's books, but it's the marketing that is tough.
Yeah,
I
agree.
mean, that's
Yeah.
tough.
Mm.
And Ellwyn, you do a lot, and and I am right now writing, so I'm trying not to be marketing as much. I put my shows out there, and but I'm still on every day. And Tom, you do a lot. Adele, do you do a lot with marketing?
I so I've really enjoyed community stuff. So
Mhm.
going to the
Yeah,
schools,
yeah,
I do a lot of markets in my area because I had done, I got a hold of an offset printer and I'd printed a whole lot of books, and now I have to sell them.
yeah.
Yep.
But also,
Oh,
I wanted to have that experience. I wanted to go out there
yeah.
and connect with the readers and get to know. So I actually moved. Just a bit of background so you understand why I moved to Canada. I was born in South Africa. I'm now living in Canada and I've been here for 3 years. And it's my way of getting out and meeting people
Yeah.
and just
Mm.
integrating myself into the community. And that's a very big thing for me. And I love seeing kids' reactions when I read to them. I've also done some library visits. Um, as far as other marketing is concerned, I do have a social media profile on Instagram and Facebook, and I try
Mhm.
and be active there as much as I can, although there's periods where I can't even stand to look at it for a week.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
then there's periods where I'm like, 2, 3 times a week, I'm happy to, and like, I feel the inspiration to post something. I've done a bit of Amazon advertising. Not sure it's really paid off in the sense that I can't measure it really,
Mhm.
which is the thing about Amazon. You've got a certain amount of tracking, but you don't really know. Sometimes you get sales at odd times when you haven't advertised for a month, and then you
I
wonder, is it
know. I
because
know.
people have seen it? They saw it a month ago, come up from an ad, and now they're deciding to buy. You're not quite sure, but um, yeah. So I think that's mostly what I'm doing. I have a website, and I give away free things like I've got literacy lesson plans that go with both my books. Which I got a very accomplished teacher named Ellwyn
Yeah, well, I'm just
to
gonna say
mentor
because
me.
I was just gonna say because
An
Elwyn.
amazing,
I know.
Oh, thank
yeah.
you.
So Ellwyn creates these literacy lesson plans
Yeah,
to go with children's books,
incredible.
and
I
they're
know.
packed with
Yeah.
you know really good stuff that teachers can, so they can read your story, and then they've got a whole lot of lesson plans to go with it. So they can fulfill multiple goals in one lesson. Um, and it's just that's really, I haven't really done a lot to drive people to my website, but I
It's
mentioned it
difficult. Even if
briefly.
you
It's
keep
so
doing
hard.
it, I don't, there's no answer to that. But Elwyn, you know, El- Elwyn has a lot of experience and she brings always something to the show. I don't think I've had a show since I've met Elwyn, a children's
Oh,
show without her being on it.
oh, go
Because,
on.
yeah, because you do have a lot of, expertise in this, and
Mhm.
I think, that's the thing. And you write other books also, and I think that Ellen has helped people a lot. And I think that
Mhm.
the community of children's writers, hopefully they'll get more, sometimes they don't share as much like they used to. You join all these groups and uh then nobody lets you, they say you could be in a group, but they don't want you to share anything. So I'm thinking I would put my show on sometimes so I that people could listen to what other authors are saying and they go, no, we don't want that. And I'm thinking, why not?
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
you
it's
should.
ridiculous.
You're part of my Facebook group, aren't you? The a Festival of Books.
Yeah, I think I
Because
am.
because in the featured section we have like
Okay.
stuff where you can. I mean, we're trying to keep everything like categorized so people can find stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
you should be posting it. Like when I
Okay.
like
And
every month I put what's your good news.
okay.
I do one of those once a month. But yeah, yeah, just
My
we're
good news is that I take do Tai Chi to keep myself to keep myself well rounded. Honestly, I used to do it, and I even took karate at one time. I think they should all kids should learn Tai Chi. because
Yeah.
it's so, I mean, even I do a 5 minute or 10 minute, it's relaxing, and I think that's what's happened to a lot of authors. I see them out there constantly, they're posting and they're so upset. But this is what it's about, is writing a good story.
Yeah.
Mm,
And
I,
most of us don't like marketing, but we don't have a choice.
mm, yeah.
Yeah.
so
I
I
will
feel like,
say,
oh, go ahead,
oh,
Adele.
sorry. Oh, I just wanted to mention, I will say on Instagram, there is quite there's a great community of children's book authors, independent authors, and it's called Discover Kids Books. And I just
Hmm.
find that
Hmm.
once you're part of that group, there's a chat. So if anybody has a question and they need some advice, it's easy to go on there and somebody will always answer.
Yeah.
And then there's certain like collaborative things that happen and challenges and that. And I find that it's been very helpful for me to know that I'm not just in this like
Right.
space
Which is
and no
right.
one's
Right. We're
responding,
all in
and it's great
this.
to
Yeah.
belong to a
Yeah.
group like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's been really good for me as
Okay.
well.
I've got all
I,
these things to check out because,
well,
honestly, go ahead, Tom.
well, I was going to say, I feel like we should all, Elwyn, Marsha, Adele,
Mhm.
me, we should all end this episode today with a challenge to the listeners.
Oh, okay.
Right?
What's the
Like,
challenge?
well, I don't like we could have individual challenges, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm thinking, here's what I was thinking about. Like, okay, listeners,
Okay.
we've talked about, Jasmine doing her deep breathing. Like,
Mhm.
tag me on social media and give me a picture of you doing deep breathing, right? Like
Mm.
something silly, but like let's
Yeah.
challenge our listeners to show up,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
to
Yeah,
fun.
show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or walk through a natural setting and take a picture of your favorite
Yes.
flower or whatever you see in that setting and
Oh,
tag
I
me.
love that. Okay,
Yeah.
how do we tag you, Adele? How do we tag you? What's your Insta handle?
It's Adele dot Lamothe Lamothe underscore author, and Adele is just Adele. Adele
Marsha,
dot
will you put
Lamothe.
put these in like the
I'm
show
going
notes
to,
or
yeah, you
something?
know what? I'll do this, okay? And just send me, uh, Adele, send me any of your links. Tom, I have
Yeah.
yours. Yeah, I have yours. But send them to me in an email, and I'll no, because I used to have more space and to put things, and so I used to put everybody's. But when I go on and put the show on others, networks, I can do it there. Because black at the Podbean, I don't have. They don't give you the words.
Okay. Well,
I
yeah,
have
so
more
I think
words. Yeah.
because I want to be one of the first ones to take up Adele on her challenge, and I'm gonna go take a picture of
Okay.
me or take a picture of a flower or something outside, and I want to tag her, and I didn't write that down, so I want to go someplace where I can find her
I
social.
hardly ever
I mean
tag
her
people.
social
I
Mhm.
don't
tag, not
tag people. I don't tag people very much because I always feel like, oh, they don't want me to tag them.
yeah,
Um,
no, let's do it. Let's do it. This is like we're gonna start a
Sounds
viral
awesome.
trend.
okay, so no, I am going to keep having shows on children's books, and the more the merrier. So we'll do another one maybe next month. I mean, I used to do them all the time. I love doing them. And to get the word out more about people, what we all do. And
Yeah.
Tom, we're going to leave, but do you want anything else? Do you want to say anything else, or did you want to, next time
Well,
you want to read a whole book, or what do you want to
sure,
do?
sure. I'll read
Okay.
a whole book next time. I
Okay.
have next time. Here's a little
Adele.
teaser. Here's a little.
Okay.
Oh,
Go
here's a
ahead.
little teaser.
Uh-huh.
So my latest book is the story of our youngest's adoption, told in rhyming prose. So it won't be long, but I will read that story about our youngest's adoption.
Okay.
Oh,
That's good.
Oh,
Because it's
And
important. It's important. It's important. All of those
so
things. Yeah.
yeah, and we have to get Elman's challenge. We can't go without Elman's
I know.
challenge.
yeah.
I can't think of anything, because I read my poem about Halloween, and it's not Halloween season yet. So, uh, I don't
I
know.
have no, challenges for me are just getting this program on the air for the last 16 years, no matter what. It's
Wow.
every time, I feel like when people say that they're actors or whatever before they go on the TV show, every show, I'm still, is it going to work? Is everything going to go okay? And then when I'm done, I go, oh, thank God.
Elwyn, here's an idea. I love your book, A Fish Called Fancy. So
Yes.
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
how do you sparkle? Show us how you sparkle
Oh,
and
that's a
what
good one.
your
Okay,
special,
yes.
Okay.
yeah, I love
And
that.
tag Ellman.
Okay, but
Or tag us all, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm
Yep,
I'm
tag,
yep, yep. Wear
I'm
something
yes,
sparkly in the forest and do your breathing. There.
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
I'm going to have one Halloween show with a couple other authors. Maybe we'll do another one with you guys for Halloween. We'll just talk about
Sure,
that. But
sure.
I think that, getting the word out and having people, a lot of people that have these groups, they should come out more and want to come on shows to promote themselves. They don't,
Well, we're going to show
and
people the power of the podcast,
Mhm.
it
yeah.
is,
with our challenges.
you know why? Because people really like to hear authors talk. They do. They
Mhm.
love it, you know. And I think the children's authors, like so on my show, if you're nervous, you can have another two or three people with you, because some people can't do a whole show, uh, by themselves, so they get nervous, and I understand that because I still remember my first experience on a show, and I was nervous, very.
I remember I was
This
so
is my
nervous.
first podcast and I was very nervous, but I've had
Oh,
so
okay.
much fun.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
Adele, it
Then
was
you'll come again.
lovely. Oh
Yay,
my
yay.
goodness, you did great.
You
You
did.
did fabulous.
I
Yes,
knew she would. That's why I was like,
Amazing.
Marsha, I know Adele
Okay.
Lamothe. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, because yeah, I'm sure Adele has noticed that we don't have exactly like everybody else's show where we just say, "What did you do when you were 5 years old?" We just and anybody on my show could say whatever they want. So, I like that fact of being
Mm.
able to do that. So I've done it for years, and yeah, so you're absolutely welcome to come back. And all of you Tom. So I'm so happy that we all got on the air today. Yay. I'm always happy.
Yay.
All
Hey,
right, we had the show, and Adele, it's so wonderful meeting you and
Likewise.
Thank
listening
you
to that
so much. It's
voice.
been amazing being on
And
your show.
listening to
Thank
that
you.
voice, it's very, even I could relax listening to that voice,
yeah.
which is not easy. All right. Thank you all for being on. And I'll send everybody their links when it's ready. And then I'll send it all to you. You can put it out. And we're all done today. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank
Great
you.
show. It
Thank
was
you,
so much
Thank you.
fun.
Marsha.
Lovely
Thank
meeting
you.
you all.
Bye
All
bye.
right.
Thank you.
Same here.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye
everybody.
bye. Bye bye.